Hello everyone, Mr. Drybones here, and I've got something new for you. Well, something new for my channel anyway. Instead of taking a look at my retro collection or retro pickups, I thought we'd take a look at a few games that I feel are worth your attention. In these crazy go-go times of ours, we don't always have the time to sit down and wait for a video game to get itself started. Wait for it to finally get around to telling its story 10, 20, 30 hours into the game. So today I thought we'd take a look at some fantastic fables, structured stories, and wonderful whimsy from 5 games that are not RPGs that have fantastic stories. So please, sit back and enjoy the video, and be sure to leave a comment. Do you agree with my picks? Do you disagree? Either way, I'd love to hear from you. So hey, without further ado, let's get started.
Kid, come on, wake up now. There you are. I thought you rode that torpedo into the great hereafter. I'm in Dionysus Park now. Train cars are shambles, leaking air. Whole damn place is flooded and sealed. But there's a pumping station back there on Siren Alley, and I believe you could jerry-rig it to drain the park out. That'd let you stroll right inside. Get to those pumps, and hurry.
Before we begin, I would like to apologize for the quality of the graphics in this clip. I had to record this from my PS3 and I had to record it in composite, so the quality isn't great. But without further ado, let's get into it. BioShock 2 is considered the black sheep of the BioShock series, but I'm here to tell you it's actually the best of the 3. It took the gameplay from the first game and it made it better by adding in the ability to dual wield both weapons and plasmids. The game improved the story by giving the player more choice. Instead of just saving and harvesting the little sisters, there are also people and characters you meet along the way that you can make similar choices to, and how you handle those situations affects the end game. As you play the game and make those choices, the character Eleanor, who's your surrogate daughter, will be molded into the person that she becomes at the end of the game. So by making good, wholesome choices, she becomes a good, wholesome person. Or you can go the other route and just try and save yourself and see what kind of person she turns into. Now that might sound similar to Elizabeth in BioShock Infinite, but Elizabeth had a set trajectory. No matter what you chose, she was always going to end up in the same place. Eleanor, however, is going to change based on the things you do and the choices you make. I'm trying my best not to spoil too much as I record this. Instead of having Atlas as your navigator, you have a man named Augustus Sinclair, who you heard at the beginning of this video. I just want to say he's a total bro, and by the end of the game, you'll definitely feel a real attachment to him. He's a great character, and I actually really enjoyed my time with him in BioShock 2. If you played the first BioShock, you'll know what to expect in terms of gameplay. If you haven't played the first BioShock, watch the rest of this video and then go play BioShock. The first BioShock game is amazing. And then play this one because it's even better. BioShock 2 isn't terribly difficult. It's certainly no more difficult than the first game. The Vita Chambers are still there, so you can try as many times as you want. Beat your head into the wall until you actually finish the game. But I highly recommend taking a look at it. It's got a great story. It expands on the mythology from the first game. It's just a shame that they kind of threw it out for BioShock Infinite. If you want to see what it's like to be a big daddy and have your very own daughter Fu, I would highly recommend playing BioShock 2. Now let's go ahead and move on to the next game.
I think Mother knows I'm helping you like this. She's accelerating my treatments. Don't give up on me.
Hindenburg, the opera? Wasn't that show shut down when the stage caught fire and killed the cast?
I read the reviews. Oh, the humanity.
I had to say that.
That's right. Ruthless producers. They just reopened it last week. It's crackling. There must be something really bad about this place.
Grab a full scan.
Good idea. We should probably have a look around.
Guess that means we're not alone.
Yep. These are unusual flux patterns. Whoa, wait! Don't touch that. That's what I thought.
Thank you, Ray, for that stirring introduction. As you just heard, the original voice cast of Ghostbusters all came back for Ghostbusters the video game, released in 2009 for the Xbox 360, PS3, and the Nintendo Wii. The game was more recently released on modern consoles, the Nintendo Switch, Xbox One, and PS4. The game takes place 6 months after the events of Ghostbusters 2. And what sets this game's story apart from everything else on this list is that it was actually written by Dan Aykroyd and Harold Ramis, who wrote the stories for the first 2 Ghostbuster movies. So needless to say, the game has lots of nods and winks to the first 2 movies. But more importantly, it also fills in some of the gaps and holes from the first two movies, such as where the mood slime came from in Ghostbusters 2. Gameplay-wise, the game feels very similar to Dead Space of all things. Instead of having a heads-up display, everything you need to know about your Ghostbuster is on this proton pack. How long until the gun needs to be cooled down, how much health the ghost has, and how much health you have. As you play through the game, Egon upgrades your proton pack with 7 additional weapons to help you catch ghosts and solve simple physics-based puzzles. The game has a pretty gentle difficulty curve. However, there are some difficulty spikes here and there, mostly when you're separated from the rest of the Ghostbusters and you have to make it through unscathed. Ultimately, the game is a solid third-person shooter, which I highly recommend. If you have a choice between which version to get, I lean toward the Xbox 360 or PS3 version, especially if you can get some friends together because it has a really killer multiplayer mode. Or even the Wii version, which has 2-player co-op. Of the games on this list, this one is probably my favorite. Now let's move on to the next one.
On your left.
You're gonna die here.
How was my gameplay, honestly? Leave a comment and tell me how good I was at playing Batman. I know I took a few hits, that was because I got greedy, but overall I think that was a pretty good battle in Batman. What can you really say about Batman Arkham City? It is a fantastic game. It got rave reviews when it came out from both critics and gamers. It's a fantastic game. You can get it right now on the Batman Collection. It goes on sale pretty frequently on both the Xbox, the PlayStation, and on Steam. So I highly recommend giving both games a shot. Now, you're probably asking yourself, why did you pick Arkham City over Arkham Asylum or even Arkham Origins? Well, I'll tell you. I picked this game because it has a phenomenal twist at the end. I didn't see it coming, I don't think most people saw it coming, and it really does fit in with Mark Hamill's Joker and what he says in this game. How do you put one over on the world's greatest detective? You put the answer right under his nose, and that's what the game does, and it actually works beautifully. This game is arguably Paul Dini, who worked on Batman the Animated Series and Justice League. This might be his best work. Arguably, of course. It's really a shame that Arkham Knight, he had already left the series and was not continuing his story. I really would have liked to have seen what he had planned for the end of the Arkham series. But I digress. What we got was nevertheless phenomenal. The gameplay is arguably the best of the Batman series. Batman controls really well. You really feel like Batman as you're playing it. The game has a lot of different skins. As you can see, I am partial to the Batman Beyond skin. And the game has been streamlined from the first title, so you can actually counter multiple enemies at one time, which is a godsend and really helps out in the long run. And the Catwoman subplot is pretty good too. Although I never really understood, if you've paid attention to the game and you have like headphones on while you're playing it, Catwoman squeaks as she walks, so I never understood how she was able to sneak up on somebody if she's squeaking the whole way up to them. But yeah, that's Batman Arkham City. It's got a big overworld, it's a nice open world, but it's condensed with things to do. Just about every section of the game there's something to find and something to see and something to scan, and it all works together extremely well. It's not too big, it's not too small, it really feels like you're a part of Gotham City. But what do you think? Why don't you leave me a message in the comments, and I'd love to hear your opinion on the matter. Let's move on to the next game.
All right, listen. Don't forget to come back for me.
As long as you're not dead, Fred.
It's Frank. Frank West. Remember that name, because the whole world's gonna know it in 3 days, when I get the scoop.
All right.
Whoa! Shit! Get us back down to that rooftop!
No, I'm gonna get my butt chewed out for this one. We're going down.
Capcom's Dead Rising, originally released on the Xbox 360. More recently, it was remastered for the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One. And this is a really great story, especially if you're really into zombies and zombie movies. The game takes a lot of cues from John Romero's zombie movies, particularly Dawn of the Dead. Your character is trapped in a mall, there's zombies, you've got to basically fight your way out as you find out where the zombies came from and what the story is. And like any good zombie story, the twist is that it actually makes good social commentary. Any good zombie story is going to have social commentary about what's currently going on. If you've ever watched anything John Romero, you would definitely be aware of that, and this game actually pulls it off beautifully. In fact, it was so similar, Capcom was actually sued by the movie studio for being a bit too similar to Dawn of the Dead. And the game is very hard. You'll level up as you play through the game. You'll start off fairly weak, but as you go through it, you'll level up and get stronger. When you fight those psychopaths, you'll be really tested in whether or not you'll be able to handle yourself. If not, one of the neat things about the game is you can come back later and do it at another time, or you can start the game over and do a new game plus where you can start with your current character back from the beginning, so maybe you'll be more prepared in the second playthrough. The game has multiple endings, so even if you decide to ignore the whole story, you could still get some sort of ending for your trouble. It's a really great game, and it actually is very challenging, so if you like Dark Souls games or just a punishing game in general, this game might just be for you, because it is hard but fair. If you decide to play this game, stick it through to the end and make sure you get the complete ending, and then digest what you just played, because the story has a point to make and it makes it pretty well. And if you enjoyed the game, be sure to check out its sequel and the 2 interquels, Dead Rising Case West and Dead Rising Case Zero, starring Chuck Green. Really good games all around, and I can't recommend them enough, especially if you're a big zombie fan. But don't bother with Dead Rising 3 or 4. Dead Rising 3 is not as bad as 4, but no, seriously, don't play Dead Rising 3 or 4.
Do we have confirmation on his location?
They've been moving him from one location to another. We expect some of these men to report back soon.
The motors have stopped! Here they come! Here they come, my brothers! Fight, my brothers!
Now I'm hoping this game is a surprise to some people because this is my favorite Call of Duty game and I feel like this one has the best story of all of them. That said, full disclosure, I have not played the story for Call of Duty Modern Warfare, so please take this with a grain of salt. If you've ever played a Call of Duty game, or pretty much any military first-person shooter, you know what to expect. The game's gameplay is great. It's been polished to a mirror shine by the time Call of Duty Black Ops 2 came out, and it plays great. There's lots of mode, lots of content. Black Ops 2 is just a great game in its own right. The reason I like the story so much in this game is because the player is rewarded for exploring. And not only that, if the player makes the right choices, that can also affect the game. And one of the reasons why I also hold this game in such high regard is because this game came out maybe 6 months after Mass Effect 3, and this game has more and varied endings than Mass Effect 3 did. Keeping certain characters alive or killing others has a profound effect on the end of the game. It's incredible how this game does better at telling a story than Mass Effect 3 did, and that was that game's whole point. But I could rant about Mass Effect 3 for days. I think you should really give Call of Duty Black Ops 2 a try. You could probably find a used copy for under $10 and a new copy for around $20. The game is worth playing, and in fact it's worth playing more than once because you can find multiple different endings. Off the top of my head, I think there's at least 6 different endings you can unlock. And it's worth your time to do it because it's a fun game to boot. So yeah, Call of Duty Black Ops 2, definitely my favorite Call of Duty and definitely worth checking out for the story alone.
Damn it, I'm taking fire from the ground. Sooner or later, one of them is going to get elected.
My friend from above! You killed many men today, huh? Yes! We all did!
Where's Woods?
The MPLA is not yet defeated. That's a very dangerous rescue, my friend! Where is he? He's being held captive by a Nicaraguan gun runner. A very dangerous man! Where? About 2 miles north. He's on a transport pod!
So, those are my picks for 5 games that are not RPGs that have a fantastic story. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Feel free to leave a comment. I'd love to hear from you, and thank you very much for watching. And stay tuned because I plan to do more videos like this in the future. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you for spending your time with me, I greatly appreciate it. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like, leave a comment, hit that subscribe button, and please share on social media. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next game.